Hello again YouTube and welcome back to Just Get a Tesla, and this week's video is a bit of conspiracy corner because there is a propaganda war going on between EVs and ICEs, and I want to know why. This isn't even the video I was going to shoot this week, and this is the second attempt at it because of technical issues earlier, but a comment went onto my channel overnight, and to be honest, I've got to talk about it because actually it raises some really interesting points, both in terms of pushing the conspiracy, but also in terms of asking why all of this is happening. So let me read this out to you. I'd keep quiet about the whole Range Rover fire thing. The overwhelming majority of them have been confirmed as hybrids, making them lithium-ion battery fires. A certain American EV brand has had quite a lot of those too. The unofficial war between EV and ICE is off-putting and childish. Just tell it like it is without the snide remarks. Show us the benefits of EV without the BS. People don't like being patronised. EV and ICE both have advantages and disadvantages. They both have a legitimate place in the world. And at the end of the day, we're all motorists trying to get somewhere. What does it matter how the wheels are powered? Well, my first response is, I actually agree with a large chunk of that. What does it matter how the wheels are powered? Because here's the thing. I think an awful lot of people have been told that the government, whether that's the UK government or other governments or hilariously even the World Economic Forum, is conspiring to take cars away from people. I've had comments saying that they, being the powers that be, don't want ordinary people to be able to drive, which is just laughable, guys. I mean, really, it's laughable. But the government's trying to take our cars away. So in the UK, there is going to be a ban on selling new petrol or diesel only cars at some point within the next 10 or so years. They were talking about 2030. It might end up being 2035, whatever. It's already happening. That is a ban on the sale of new cars. That doesn't mean to say that anything that has already been sold at that point is suddenly taken away or becomes obsolete or you're not allowed to drive it anymore. I've had endless comments from people saying, oh, you don't want any of these newfangled cars. My 20-year-old or 25-year-old or at one point even 30-year-old car is much more reliable. Great. Nobody's taking them away from you. No one's going to take them away because there's a transition away towards EVs. But this is happening. The transition is happening, and it's not actually in the powers of government anymore because the manufacturers are doing it. Contrary to the spin about EV brands having fires, or better still, manufacturers are stopping making EVs completely. That isn't true. What's happening is a slightly more sensible pace as to the transition. But people like Volvo have already said, we're stopping making petrol cars. People like Volvo have already stopped making diesel cars. And my Volvo from 2018 was a diesel. Can't buy it anymore. It's gone. First of all, it became a diesel hybrid. Now it's nothing. So this is a transition that the manufacturers are making. And they've already said and responded to the UK government trying to delay some things that, oh, we're going to carry on anyway. We're still going to stick to the schedule because commercially it's the right thing to do. But the point that's made about the war between EV and ICE, there is a war. There's a propaganda war and it is being pushed. I'm sorry, guys, but it's being pushed by a group of people who have frankly weaponized ignorance. And this isn't to say that people who are saying these things are ignorant. It's to say that they are ignorant of certain facts and certain realities. Because a large chunk of this is where we're talking about objective facts, science, statistics, mathematics, reality versus opinion. Yeah? So that is two completely separate states of mind. One of them is backed up by numbers and facts and evidence, and the other one is backed up by emotion and opinions. And okay, opinions are important, but you can't have an opinion that overrules facts, right? I might want to say the moon is made of cheese, And you might want to believe that the moon is made of cheese, but no matter how many other people we bring in to the giant conspiracy about how the moon is really made of cheese, it isn't made of cheese. So we've got the whole Range Rover fire thing, as this comment said. The overwhelming majority of them, I assume being Range Rover fires, or is he talking about fires in cars in general, confirmed as hybrids. So let's talk about fires in Range Rovers specifically. We all know what they're talking about. They're talking about the Luton Airport fire. And the Luton Airport fire, objectively, scientifically, factually, was started in a V6 3-litre Range Rover Sport. That is the facts. It was not started by an EV that was plugged in and charging, as was widely reported at the time. That the car park that the fire was in didn't have any EV chargers didn't seem to bother them. It's definitely an EV fire. After that was debunked, it then moved into, well, okay, it's a hybrid. Then the video came out showing a 2014 era Range Rover Sport. Well, it's a hybrid, they said, but the fire brigade, who then have to put the fire out, and it burns really fiercely, say it's not a hybrid, it's a diesel. But look at the flames, people say. Look where the flames are coming from. Look at the colour, look at the smoke. That proves that it's a hybrid. There's a problem, guys. First of all, we can see the number plate at the front on one of the videos, and it's registered to a 2014 V6 diesel. That's a problem. So if it's a hybrid, why has it been registered as a diesel? Secondly, it's a 2014. It's the pre-facelift one where they didn't make diesel hybrids. That's not me saying it. That's Jaguar Land Rover saying it. They didn't make them. The third problem is that when they did start making them in the facelifted version, and this wasn't the facelifted version, but when they did start making them, they didn't put the battery, the hybrid battery, the battery that catches fire, they didn't put it under the bonnet where all the flames are coming from. In fact, there's another video that I'll put here of another Land Rover diesel, Range Rover Land Rover, it's the same company, it's the same engines, burning from the front of the car and the flames moving backwards. It's not where the hybrid batteries are if there was a hybrid battery. So people still keep talking about how it's a hybrid, it's a hybrid. Luton, your insurance is going up because of Luton. Well, you know what? The Luton thing is going to cost a lot of money to a lot of insurance companies. That's very true. But it's not an EV. And the other one that they keep coming back to with this, and, you know, the war between EV and ICE, as we're talking about, is a propaganda war. So the thing that I keep reading, and I've read post after post after post, is that diesel doesn't burn. We know it wasn't a diesel on fire because diesel doesn't burn, and therefore it's a conspiracy. Except that diesel does burn. Okay, so I could put some of it in a bowl and throw a match at it, and it won't burn. But get it really hot, and it burns fiercely. And if you don't believe me, go and ask the Merseyside Fire and Rescue Service, which is the fire brigade who put out the Liverpool Arena car park fire in 2017, the one where 1,400 vehicles were destroyed. That report talks about literal sheets of fire going from floor to floor, talks about a liquid river of fire from burst fuel tanks spilling petrol and diesel out, which is catching fire, getting into the drainage systems, melting the concrete. I keep reading, fuel doesn't burn hot enough to melt concrete. Well, it did in Liverpool, so it's done in Luton as well. You actually see the Luton thing collapse, right? So it does burn really hot when it gets going. Merseyside Fire and Rescue say that one vehicle was cooking off every 30 seconds at the height of this fire. But people keep insisting, no, it can't be that. It must be an EV, and therefore it's a conspiracy. The other one I keep hearing about is this ship that was off the coast of the Netherlands, where that had cars inside it, and that caught fire. And there were 50 EVs, and the EVs were responsible for the fire, and it's all being covered up. It was being covered up, all right, because the fire was at the top of the ship, where literally the cars and the structure all melted into one. And the EVs were at the bottom of the ship where there wasn't a fire, and they were taken out afterwards without a scratch on them. So there is a conspiracy, but it's a conspiracy of paranoia. The comment basically says that this war is off-putting and childish. I entirely agree. Some of the comments, I mean, I can cope with all of the comments from you guys and genuinely keep posting comments. They're fantastic. But some of the comments are just funny because, you know, they start accusing you of all kinds of things. I think I got called a WEF tool at some point. I mean, what is it that you think, that I'm being paid money from this World Economic Forum to spread lies to all of you clever people out there who've spotted them? Really? Just tell it like it is, says the comment, without the snide remarks. Snide remarks? I'm talking about things that are factual, he says. Show us the benefits of the EV without the BS. Well, okay, I'm doing that with some of the channel. But then here's the key point. People don't like being patronised. I think that when people say they're being patronised, it's when somebody presents facts which disagree with their opinion. That's the patronising bit. My opinion is worth as much as your opinion, is the line. And that's true unless one opinion is based on something they've been told or something they've been read, which isn't true, and the other opinion is factual, scientific, statistical, whatever. I saw another video a couple of days ago which was trying to take apart a piece in the Guardian newspaper in the UK where they were talking about the propensity of an EV to set on fire versus an ICE car to set on fire. And the entire argument was because it had been printed in the Guardian, it was a lie. And because the Guardian had quoted, amongst other sources, a pro-EV lobby who had set some of these tests up, that it's not just a lie, but it's a conspiracy by them to do it. But part of the article is quoting authorities in Sweden and Norway, Australia, and this is governments who have actually sat and looked at the statistics, at the facts, at how many fires there actually are, and are finding that the opinion that the overwhelming majority of them, this is me reading the comment again, have been confirmed as hybrids. So the stats confirm not only that the overwhelming majority haven't been confirmed as hybrids, but that that statement is rubbish, nonsense, not true. Is that me being snidey? Is that me being patronising? Or is that just saying what you've been told is wrong? If you want to put subjective comments in, opinion, there's plenty of those. Do you want a list of all the things wrong with Tesla? I've done videos on this channel about things that have gone wrong with my Tesla. I've done videos about a list of bugs and faults and other things. There's plenty to talk about. Instead I get, you can't sit in your car because it'll set on fire, or you can't park your car next to your house because it'll set on fire, or you won't get insurance for your house because it'll set on fire. None of it's true. I've had, you can't sit in your car because when it runs out of power, you're going to be trapped and you'll be stuck inside it. Now, I have seen another video on another EV where that doesn't have any door pulls or anything, but my Tesla has got manual door releases, as in mechanical door releases. So if I'm sat inside the car and it runs out of power completely, I can still get out of the car. So the people saying, no, you can't, haven't a clue what they're talking about. And that's not me being patronising or making snide comments. It's me pointing out that you're talking BS, as the commentator actually said that we were doing. This is the war. This is the problem with where we're at the moment. Because at the end of the day, as the comment says, we are all motorists trying to get somewhere. So what's the problem here? Is there something about an EV that challenges the worldview of some of you? Is there? Really? Does my Tesla threaten your manhood? Threaten your view of the world? Threaten, I don't know, what is it? Tell me, right? Why are there so many aggressive in-your-face people who quote the same thing, almost word for word, which isn't true, by the way, but you're all quoting the same thing? Where are you getting that from? Who's feeding that to you? And why are you swallowing it? Because a simple, quick fact check on the internet, right, and we've got this thing called Google, that's patronising, I'll give you that. But Google it and it'll tell you, right, the location of the hybrid battery on a diesel hybrid Land Rover, it'll tell you where it is and it's not where you say it is, right? The idea that these things don't burn, Google it, it'll tell you. Why aren't you doing that? Why are you just swallowing whatever you're being fed? But here's the bit, right? The unofficial war between EV and ICE, says the comment. Who is fueling that? Fueling, get it? And this is the bit where I'm not going to start with my own conspiracy stuff, but you have to look at the sources for some of this stuff that's being posted and then start stepping a little bit further back from that. So let me give you an example. There is a long-standing YouTuber called Bjorn Nyland. He was Tesla Bjorn for a while. He makes really, really interesting videos testing to destruction EVs for range, for battery and other things. One thing he's doing at the moment is he is taking a car and he's running it to 0 on the battery, and then he's running it beyond that until it goes completely flat. And he's got these secondary plug-in batteries that you then use to charge the car up a little bit to then get him to a charger. So he is literally stress testing to the extreme what happens to these cars. The Sun newspaper in the UK takes one of his videos and completely rewrites what it's about and uses it as a way of attacking EVs, because you can't possibly drive them because you'll run out of battery and you'll be left stranded like this Norwegian guy. That's not what happened at all. What they wrote is a lie. So the question is, why are they writing it? Why are they giving you this stuff which they know to be wrong? They want you guys to attack someone like me because I've got an EV and I like it. But I'm not telling you guys who don't like EVs to like them. The channel's called Just Get a Tesla, but I'm not actually here trying to make you get a Tesla. Look at what my channel says in its bio. It says, thinking about switching your fossil car for an EV? Just get a Tesla. Thinking of upgrading your existing EV for a new one? Just get a Tesla. I am not saying if you have a petrol or diesel car, you're a bad person and I'm going to force you to have one of these. That's not it at all. That's what I'm not here to do. But I keep being told that I am. So we've got to just go back to asking the basic question. Why? Who profits from this? Because there's always somebody profiting. And why is it that they're really trying to come up with this war between EV and ICE? Because we all want to get places. And you know what? Let me give you an example to close this out with, okay? We're a 2-adult family, okay? We've got 2 cars. So that means that at the moment, we've got a nice car, which is the Tesla, and we've got an old Beta, which is a 2009 Hyundai i30 petrol with a manual gearbox. 2 adults who need 2 cars, owning 2 cars. I drive the Tesla when I go places on business, except for when I need to dump a car at the airport for a number of days. And I don't want to be worried about an expensive car being parked next to somebody who doesn't care about my doors and opens their door into it and dents it. So I've got a 14-year-old car which is pre-dented, and I dump that at the airport with a smile, knowing that when I get back, if it's got another dent on it, I'm not going to care. That is me still driving an old petrol car. And even at the point where petrol cars are no longer on sale, there will be a whole load of them, millions and millions and millions and millions of them on the road that people like you and me can enjoy, right? Nobody is out there saying you can't have petrol. Nobody. And from the comments that I've had, so many of you seem to have petrol cars or diesel cars that are 20 plus years old. So if you go out and buy one before they stop making them, you'll have bought a car that could run for another 20 years and no one's going to take the thing off you. So let's all hold hands here and accept that we all like different things. Please, please, please keep giving me the comments. They're really interesting. The guy whose comment I've basically made this video about, I'm really happy that he's come on and posted it because it was something that was genuinely interesting. So keep telling me in the comments. Tell me that I'm a woke, lefty, WAF stooge, whatever you want. I don't care, right? But tell me about your cars. Tell me about your experiences and let's have a debate. But it has to be a debate around facts, around realities, around things that we can actually measure tangibly. It can't be, well, my opinion is the moon's made of cheese, and we know scientifically it isn't made of cheese, but I want it to be made of cheese and I have a right to say so. No. So, let me know in the comments, what's the daftest thing that you've heard, or what thing have you heard that you think, that can't be right surely, and we'll have a conversation about it. And honestly, I will try not to be patronising or snippy or any of the other things that have been said. I'm just another guy with an opinion. Anyway, I will get back to driving my Tesla and doing road trips and showing people out there who are interested in getting an EV, as the channel said. Next week, I've got another road trip, and the week after another road trip, so we'll get back to all of that. But this was something we had to talk about because it's been brewing for a little bit. And if you're interested in this, I've literally got a whole notebook full of conspiracy stuff that people have been posting, and I know there's more to go into this, and it would be quite fun to pick some of these apart if we have time. So like and subscribe, hit the bell icon, you'll get the notifications when those videos come out, and I will see you back here very soon on Just Get a Tesla.